Okay, we're going to call the Parks Committee to order at 5 o'clock on the button, Wednesday, December 13th. Can we have a roll call, please?
Tracy? Here. Kelly? Here. Ed?
Here.
Danette? Here. Marlene?
Here.
Paula?
Here.
Here. Bob?
Here.
Okay,
And
and Kathy.
I was gonna say, and Mike Lund and Treasurer Gerard is here as well.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, citizens' comments, there's no one in the room and nobody on Zoom?
That's correct.
Okay. Moved by that. Approval of the meeting minutes from the November 8th meeting. Does anybody have any changes to the minutes from November 8th? I don't either. Does anybody want to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Ed,
Seconded.
Marlene, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No, okay. That passes. Anybody have any correspondence? No, okay, moving past there. All right. Time for the park supervisor report, Mike.
All right, this past month, we've been working on finishing up fall projects. Replaced a bunch of the rotten posts on the sledding hill rope fence, rebuilt the railing, that goes up to the sledding hill. We replaced a bunch of sections of split rail fence that were falling down and rotten. Did our final round of mulching of weeds, marked out all the parking lots in the park for snow plowing. We did also mark our individual plow routes that we do for the streets. We also have been cutting down trees at Lisbon Community Park and cutting back all necessary plants at the park. We've been working on it.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any questions for Mike?
That boardwalk in Brighton Estates, was that because trees have fallen on it or what needs to be done?
We didn't do anything this past month. That was 2 months ago. We had trees that fell on it.
Okay.
And
Okay, let's give no unfinished business, but lots of new business here. So the first order of new business would be discussion regarding marketing strategies for Lisbon events.
All right, so we brought in Natasha to tell us what we actually are currently doing for our events, and then we can talk about flyers.
Okay. So would you like to know about, should I start with community festival or that timeline? Okay. So there's an abbreviated version of what I do for community festival for Winterfest and Easter. I do extra work for the community festival, so I'll start with that. In October, so in fall, normally I get the dates from the committee, even earlier than that. And then I will put those dates on the Parks event page. So on the website, if you search Parks events, there is a page that I normally have all the flyers, dates, information. And then there's actually, last year we updated it so you can volunteer and donate. So there's a bunch of different just links and it's in a nice chart so people can go right to that page. I believe I created a QR code last year for it. Okay, so that's where I start with just updating the dates. Also, I put the dates on the calendar right away. That's the website calendar. And then we include those dates in the tax inserts. So that's all done before flyers are designed and brought to the committee and then approved. The flyer creation starts, I was asked to do the Easter one earlier. Normally we do Winterfest and then Easter, and then in January and February, I'll start working on the community flyer, the community festival. Let's see, next in March, I create the Facebook event. So the flyer has already been approved by that point, so I can put that flyer up with any updates regarding vendors, in March, and then in April, the flyers posted to the website. So on the homepage, I put that up. Right on the front, it's under the news flash, and then I do that because I start highlighting it right after Easter is done. So I do start the work where it's Winterfest, then Easter, then Community Festival. I'll put all the dates out there on the Parks event page. I'll put the dates again on the calendar, but I'm creating the Facebook events and whatnot in order.
Mhm.
So once Easter is done in April, that's when I post everything on the website in terms of the flyer. And then I start to do extra work. So the flyer is submitted to the Hamilton School District, and they send it to all their schools. So then those schools individually can decide if they want to pick up that flyer and put it in their newsletter. And that's all the elementary, middle, high school. And I have seen it the last couple of years on the high school, in the high school newsletter, and it's active for 6 weeks. So I don't have children that are younger at the elementary school or middle school to know if they're picked up, but I'm sure that we could, I could go back out and say who did pick these up, which schools, are showcasing it for or running it for 6 weeks. In addition, the flyer is also submitted to the Freeman Summer Fun Guide. And that's again in April. Or whenever the contact, is accepting flyers. And then in May, I start all of the alerts. So that's the Notify Me alert subscription that we have through our website. I'll send out reminders that way. And so people are either getting texts or emails in May, reminding them about the date. And then that's when we put all of our flyers up on the door here. And then I also boost the event. So in May, I boost it usually. So I try to do 3 weeks of additional like advertising dollars that are spent, and those are targeted. So I'll really drill down to the different interest groups and by area to make sure that, our ad is being seen by local people within a certain radius of miles. And then I also share the event to Facebook again. So it's, it keeps, I keep trying to say, okay, and here's a reminder and save the date and we'll see you for this and that. And for any time that I get information that there's, the new ATM vendor or anything about the carriage rides or something, that I will go and post on the Facebook event. Hey, guess what? Here's this. And I try to tag anybody who also has a page. So there might be some more visibility. So let's see. The other thing, a couple things I want to mention are that the online outlets, so there's like different pages who will also pick up and share our event. And some of them are like Lake Country, Family Fun, the Journal Sentinel Online, all events. We have Sussex Express, they like to share our events, Lake Country Now or the Freeman. So there are online outlets who also just share our Facebook event and get the word out. And just so that you have something to, think about in terms of what a Facebook event, what that boost might do. I have, actual numbers. So in 2019, when we may have boosted for $20, let's say, or possibly didn't do a boost at all. We had 350 people were interested in our event, versus last year when I boosted the event for $50, we had 1,100 interested. So that was the highest to date. So each year I try to do more things and adjust some of the, like, the target audience, or trying to share it to other outlets. And, we have a good amount of interest. It's growing. So.
Would you say Facebook is our main
Mhm,
advertising platform?
mhm.
Have you put it on like Elquist on their
Their
The
sign, yeah.
Yeah, whatever the sign is. I've had it, and then the fire station will do it too.
Mhm. I have done things that I can do from, I guess, my desk versus going out and hanging up. I mean, I have ideas that, you know, you can go and physically hang up flyers and in our, possibly at our TID businesses, if they have some kind of bulletin board or grocery stores or Starbucks or things like that, but that's not something that I've been able to do.
Yeah, in the
My
past, I had
position.
called Hellquist and they just put it on there. And then the bank too in Sussex,
Okay,
they'll put it on their sign.
okay. Which bank?
The one right on the corner in 164 in Silver Spring. North
Shore.
Shore Bank.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
Yeah,
south.
I got it down.
And then with like the dance and JK Lee and the ones that are gonna possibly doing demonstrations, I'm assuming they'll want to make some kind of advertising to get more people in for that as well. So that'll help us.
Absolutely, yeah, so.
Okay.
is there any chance of getting like a temporary flyer? I had a request from 2 different people for the festival
I think we'll discuss that in the.
in, oh, okay.
Paula, I have to ask, thank you very much, Natasha. You're very thorough. I just had one question. You talked about it goes to the Hamilton School District.
Mm,
Okay, like part of our district is Merton School too, like where I live, my taxes, you know, I mean, ours is Merton School. Could you include Merton?
Well,
School
and
in that
Arrowhead too. There's
Also,
Arrowhead. Kids
And
Program as well.
Arrowhead?
Yeah.
mhm.
and for those of us that live further west,
Yeah,
you know, those folks actually live even closer to the
Mhm.
park and perhaps they don't know about it. I mean,
Mhm.
other than if they're going up and down Lake Flag, but could you include
Mhm.
the Merton School District? Arrowhead would be high school kids, but
That's oh yeah, that's right there.
Yeah. you know,
Yeah,
so,
there are 2 schools.
yeah, there's 2.
There's 2 elementary
Yeah.
schools
Well, there's
in
an
the Arrowhead
elementary.
feeder system,
Mhm.
and Natasha, it would be Richmond, and
And,
Annette already mentioned Merton. I don't know if I'd send a blast out to Arrowhead or
yeah, I mean, I don't know that high school has to know about it,
not,
but
but
I think, you know, for Merton, for that primary and the intermediate, that would be really good, because those folks live, you know, the village of Merton is just on the other side of Lake Five Road.
Mhm.
I mean, they're also accessing the park. I know folks who are there also.
Yeah, we can reach out and see if they have a digital newsletter. I just happen to know Hamilton did, and they had a process with a marketing point
Mhm.
person, so we'll have to see
Okay.
if the other smaller schools have that.
And it might not be a bad idea to go to Arrowhead anyway, because there's younger siblings in those for high school students who might be able to pick up some kids. And we have the Easter bunnies from Arrowhead,
Right.
so.
I know that Richmond School has a letter that goes out every week. So
Okay.
that'd be a place.
Thank you, Natasha.
Mhm.
yeah, Natasha, it's almost it's an amazing amount of time that has to go into that. It's almost overkill. And looking out ahead 5 to 10 years, if people don't know where community park is, they're crazy.
There's a lot of people that don't
No,
really.
no, I mean, considering the growth that's occurred within 5 miles of community park in the last 5 to 8 years.
I think
People now know where community park is.
I think that sign makes.
The sign makes
Yeah,
a big
sign on the
difference.
road, but
Yes.
Still, with the people that are coming down our pathway and the people that are coming off the bug line from Sussex, from Merton, community park is now on the map. Yeah. We've done a good job. So, I'm gonna keep Mike busy.
When we get 1,100 people showing up. that would be awesome.
That'd be great.
Love
Better not run out of beer. One quick question I did have,
Mhm.
Natasha. Do you have a target date when the draft flyer will be ready
I'm waiting,
for the community?
yeah, I'm waiting to find out more about what to put on the flyer.
But we haven't finalized what we're doing yet,
We can start with,
but if even, you know, because we don't wanna start something and then have to redo the whole thing because it's not really finalized. You know, because it takes a lot of time and effort, and if she puts it out, remember a couple years ago when we put all the stuff out and then she had just mentioned how people pick it up and then they share it with people and such, and then the date changed. Because something happened and the date changed, and she went back and she did everything she could to change everything she had but it was all those people that shared it. And then that information went out and it was inaccurate, and then people were wondering why we didn't have things or why
Mm.
the date was changed and they weren't made aware, and we had, made it look like we had bad stuff on the internet,
So,
so.
well, then I'm thinking by January meeting, February at the latest, we should have this pretty well thought through and decided what's going on. Or even if it's a save the date where you have like just the basic design, save the date, hey, community festival upcoming kind of thing, and then we can add as we go, or
I don't have
fill
a
in
problem with
details.
save the date.
Yeah.
We are gonna be doing, the next thing we're gonna talk about is a letter going out to our businesses, so. And then, I can do a letterhead for like WOW and stuff, so then they actually have it, but it's a true Lisbon event.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
municipal event.
We're talking about that under B, right?
Right,
Okay.
we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about that. But so we talked at one of our last meetings that we wanted to really hit social media. I bring back a lot of our discussion to Natasha, and she was like, well, did you tell them this? Did you tell them this? Did you tell them this? And I'm like, no. So she offered to come and give you a big rundown of all the stuff she puts on social media and all the work she does. Just keep in mind that when we're doing flyers and things, that takes a lot of time, and to redo them is just
Mhm.
a waste of time. So we're trying to eliminate that type of stuff. So I think we have a flyer that you want to show.
Oh, is that on C? Are we doing that on C? I don't
You're gonna
know.
say that
Are
one.
we done with, it,
Unless somebody else had other marketing strategies, it was for discussion. She was just telling you what she's done. Did you have other
well,
marketing suggestions other than the ones that you just mentioned?
Yeah.
Had?
you know, the signage or whatever,
Adding
anything like that,
signage.
anybody?
We talked about new signs, more of the banner signs going out in multiple places, not just two places. But,
Mm.
putting some money aside to do that.
I think we're done. You got everybody good to move on?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we'll go to the official Lisbon letter then, Kathy, please, if you wanna tell us about that.
So, because of our events and donations and things in the past, the committee went out and knocked on doors for money, essentially, to our businesses, and I think it's best that it comes straight from us and not from the committee any longer. And now that the whole event is coming out of the budget, we wanna make sure that we get, budget, we have the money coming in a transparent way. So, the budget will help us with that, and, so I wanna put out a official letter from Lisbon, and I thought that other than for donations, that maybe you'd like me to add things about the events itself. That, at the Easter event, that they can get a booth or, that type of thing. And are we going to be doing booths at the community center? I know we're not doing the craft there, but I know we're doing, there's the dentist that does tying of balloons. So if they wanted to do something like that, is that something that you'd like them to do?
The only thing is we still haven't heard from the gal who would supply 2 balloon and 2 face painters. She was gonna get it to me this week, but we'll talk about that under festival.
Right. So we're just mostly on the events, on the letter. I thought, instead of just asking for donations, then I would also give them some opportunities to volunteer for different things in the park and at our events, if you think that that would be worthwhile.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that's gonna be very worthwhile. I would keep it kind of generic and say like there's opportunity to become involved and expose your business to the, citizens of Lisbon.
Almost like a sponsorship thing.
And then if they call about something, if it's time for the community park or the Easter or something, what's appropriate for that event can be discussed with them, but it'll open the door a little bit.
You might want to list the events and say, here's upcoming events that you can have some kind of sponsorship opportunity at or exposure or something too.
This would be, this letter would be a good letter to talk about, you know, a new building in the park or anything like
Mm.
that we want to do as well, so. If I sent this out, if we got in a annual event type of a, you know, we sent this out in January,
Mhm.
sent a letter out to all our businesses, you know, happy 2024, and these are all our events. These are the opportunities, both, volunteering or sponsoring. Then the next year we do the same thing, when we actually have a building that we are going to work on and we get a design, we might have businesses that are willing to work with us on, it. You know, maybe actually do the building, or maybe do the engineering here, or the different people in our community. It was a thought, I thought I'd throw it out there. If you think it's not worthwhile, I'm happy to not do it, but I just thought it'd be good to come from Lisbon, you know, from, the village hall, so then it was
A good
a little
example
more professional.
is what they did with the 9/11 memorial right out here. You know, they wanted to create that, you know, like, the word got out, that there's a lot of community involvement that got behind that. And it just turned out to be not only a permanent display here, but a real camaraderie amongst the community in that community.
I think that letter would be a really good idea.
I agree.
Cause
Plus,
it's,
they can spread the word more too about all the different things we have going on, just throughout their own people that are working in the area.
I thought I could maybe mention that we're looking for performances for the event.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone that, other than if we were gonna, pay for somebody to come in, I don't have anybody that's at open. My group for sure is coming, so it's early, don't
Mm.
get past the holidays,
Mhm.
things will change, but.
Kathy, and I don't know how the committee feels about it, part of what I did historically over the last 5 to 8 years was I was the one that was given the responsibility to go to our corporate for our business sponsors in town, now village. I would be professionally remiss, I don't know how it would fit into the letter. I have not stepped away, we've changed, we've done something different, and I would admit, I don't know if my name is in there, thanking people for all the contributions. I mean, Lennon Stone, for example. I'm not total up in my mind how much they contributed over the last 5 to 6 years, but I'm leaving it somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 to 25K.
Hmm.
And so forth and so on. Genesee Aggregate, Kane and Dolan and so forth, the larger, corporate entities I would go to. Now, of course, there's new businesses, obviously the Leeds Industrial Park that I
Business partners.
did not as business partner. And of course, there's a different dynamic with them than there is with our quarries and whatever. But, and Nelson says, thank you for all your contributions.
Yeah, I think it's great point,
Yeah.
Ed.
So.
Yeah, Ed put a lot of time and work in that for years.
They were more than generous.
Yeah.
Realistically. So.
Great. Anybody else?
I think the letter's a fantastic idea. At least, you know, judge some excitement about it and see what they're willing to do. I love it. Okay. Anybody else? No. Okay, discussion on extravaganza planning updates and review of flyer.
The flyer I sent out to, and I've used it continuously, very nice flyer. Thank you.
I don't think anyone saw.
I don't know if anyone saw.
No, you sent it to me and that was it. And because I needed to get it out to people manning the tables. And it was really, really good. Right now we have 8 tables signed up. I've got 6 more working on it. We got a bunny. We have a bunny.
Is
So
it the
he's
same
all
money?
set, the same bunny. Culver said I gotta call him back in January. Everybody's going, can you wait till January?
Yeah.
But I got 6 of them said, oh, thank you, it's on our schedule. So with that, you have to get it out to people early. So it worked out and I'm still following through with other people. I did make out a list here of who I need where. And we got a little bit of time with this yet, but I'm gonna send it out to Mike. Cause it's, and I could send it to you, Kathy, if you wanna, or
And then
Paula.
I can
You
share.
can share it with everybody. I do need some helpers yet, and we will go over that. But it gives you a total of what we need, what we have to do step by step for the Easter egg hunt. Paula, I'd like you to invite the board.
Sure.
Next meeting and then remind them that's the end of March. You got January and February. And then we're there. So if you could do that. I was very remiss in calling Brad after he sent the letter that he's leaving. He is volunteering at Children's Hospital. And he loves it. He said it's really good.
Good for him.
And he will come and help for the Easter egg hunt.
Oh, that's very nice.
So he was very happy to do that. And like I say, I will need everybody on board. We did get the scouts finally called me back. We got them to help carry stuff in and do things. And right now it's moving along really good. So. Is there any?
Different scouts than last year that didn't show up.
Well, this time we got a new scoutmaster. It was all changed. I had a heck of a time getting the new scoutmasters. But I did get somebody now and they are
Really good.
working on it. And then again, like I say, January, I send out another, hey, make sure if we get enough, on Culvers too, I will call them again in January. They pretty much sure they were coming, but. So I will get that out to everybody. So any other questions on that?
Nope, I think we're good to go on.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
moving along really good. So
Discussion on adopt road and sled races. So we don't have Brad anymore, who took that over.
So, I don't know if Brad made the comment that Mike actually does the adopt a road, and he could really probably put that in your.
Oh, in your report?
Report that says, you got a new person, or I'm looking for this.
I usually add if people are doing a cleanup or anything
Yeah.
like that. I know Brad, a lot what he did was just like contact the people if they haven't done it in a few years, just reminding them to do a cleanup. You know, that was
Do you think that's something that you could
Yeah, I can do that.
do or do that?
Yep.
Right, the sled races, where are we with the sled races? We kind of are waiting on the Winterfest.
Yeah, I've got it covered on that. Was the sled racing in the very beginning, was that gonna be part of the major thrust of Winterfest, or was it just kind of an add-on? As time went on and we talked about, well, what some different ideas that we could do, because we've always had difficulty coordinating it with the weather and all these other activities and the same date or different dates at the time. And I wonder if we should really consider the value of the sled race that is an integral part of Winterfest, or it's gonna be a standalone event of some kind.
last year, Brad, we talked about having them together. Sled races first, and then you would still be setting up for the Winterfest. But you can't have the Winterfest and people sledding while you have the scouts. Yeah, so the scouts were gonna come first. And he said he wasn't sure, you would have to contact the scouts to see if they're still interested. Because after 2 years of canceling, and it was nobody's fault, it was the weather.
Mhm.
We had an ice storm and then we had no snow but
So I wasn't here when you started discussing the sled races. Was it really a Cub Scout or a Scout?
it was 2 separate days.
But I mean, was the sled race actually a Scout event?
Yeah.
Like the Derby,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
Derby
go
is and
box
stuff
derby
like
type
that.
of
So,
stuff.
yeah. So maybe it's, we let the Scouts determine if they want to do it or not. We just,
I think Brad was the contact to the scouts and nobody else was. So I don't even know if the
And I
scouts are
think
even
that's how it
interested.
came about, because we
Yeah.
had-
Yeah. And then it was decided because we had the sled racing on Saturday, you still needed the park committee there. And then we had the Winterfest on Sunday. That was a whole weekend tied up. And then we said, okay, let's do the sled racing first and then have, you know, like from, what did we say, 10 to 12 or 11 to 12, and then have the festival. By that time, the sled racing or the cardboard sled racing was off the hill.
What, Mike, what do you think about giving Brad a call, asking him for a contact name for the scouts, and then just letting the scouts know that if they want to do a sled race, that, we would work with them on a time. And then that way, it's not really our event, it's the scouts event, and they have to
Mhm.
figure out all the stuff, but we would kind of close the hill during their sled race.
I can do that.
I think that's probably our best.
Yeah.
that we just closed the hill when they're ready.
Because we could get snow, and if it's the scouts that are doing it, they could just tell their group that says, we got snow, so let's go this weekend, everybody get your, you know, or in 2 weeks or whatever, you know, they can actually do that, whereas for us, we're trying to get out marketing and all of that stuff on it, and it's really only the scouts that are doing it.
I think that's a good plan.
Just a thought, you guys
Good
don't have to
point.
agree with me on it.
I-
Yeah, I
like what
like
you
that
said.
much
I like
better
that.
because we don't even know if we're gonna have Winterfest. We don't know what the weather
We're
is.
gonna have winter at this point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's cold. but it's-
Yeah. Well, that we better make sure it's not bitter cold for the extravaganza either. It's freezing last year. Okay, so any other,
Fire, like, that it's distracting, and it just, you know, get out very quickly.
Yeah.
I could do that,
okay,
it's just, like, canceled the last minute, but didn't put it up yet.
well, didn't we talk about holding off on a
Yeah.
date until,
We don't even have a date yet.
yeah,
No,
Till we get some snow and more weather and stuff.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea just to put the thought in people's minds and say, just, you know, be on the lookout for. So people are thinking about it a little bit, but.
Maybe once we get snow.
then it'll be
Come on,
80
let's
the
go.
next day.
The first page, I do a Winterfest. And then also a new resident packet that goes out on the back of that, it has, you know, Winterfest is TV, so they know when you're this event, so I put it as February. But that's-
Hmm.
Resident office. That's another place that puts the information.
Nice.
Everybody knew coming in, and it's a half of the information from some are.
That's awesome. Okay, E, discussion on community fest planning updates.
All right, so, I've got in front of you, and I apologize that it's two separate pages, because it could be just one and that's all, but, so we did get, I do have, Susie Sparkles down $525. We can always cancel if,
Hang with her, yeah.
Yeah, if they come through.
Yeah.
And
She
it's-
was
and
leaving.
it's- What?
Thought she told us last year she wasn't gonna
She's
be
decided
Please
to stay now.
Stay one more year, I heard. But we have another gal who has said she would give us a deal for 2 face painters and 2 balloon people. And she was gone on vacation and she came back. This is the busiest time. And she said she would get it to me within the next week. So as soon as she gets it to me, I'll forward it to Paula and Kathy and do that.
So that was new, and then we also did our deposit on the, Rockwell. We got the information from Ed.
Yes, and to the committee, when I presented on that the first time, I erred or I misspoke because what I had was information on the deposit, not on the total. For the total for the rock wall is $970.
Hmm.
And they've emailed me, they've also emailed yourself or you were first. So Congratulations. But it's all in writing and we should be set to go on the wall.
Is that for one or two?
One,
One. Yeah.
I think it's the last meeting.
The
they-
problem with two would be there wasn't enough room. Honestly, because it's 40 to 50 feet needed for trailer and truck. So anyway. But it's 970, so it's a little bit short of 1K.
Well, that's better than the cost we had on the last sheet, so that's good.
Mhm.
We had 1670 on the last sheet.
because we were talking.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So, Tracy, do you have anything on the inflatables?
I did get a message back from Mike. There, because he originally just gave me the quote for the 3 items that we had last year, which was $550, and then I asked him about adding the obstacle, and he thought originally that we were gonna do the obstacle instead. So he says for a total package price of 1,000, so it'd be $450 to do the 40-foot obstacle.
So $1,000, and that gets us the inflatable obstacle, bouncy house, a baseball, and a basketball.
Yep, and then he said, he would upgrade our balloon bouncy to the sports combo, which uses a less powerful blower. But they need 2 separate 20-amp circuits. Do we have? Oh, I think so, because I think they had 2 last year.
Yeah, they ran it off last year.
I can ask them.
I did call the gentleman from the Optimist Club. And I think he was gone. I haven't heard back from him about helping with the batting cage helper. He was so good with the kids and I will keep on with that after the holidays. Yeah. John Barnes.
So does that 8?
Oh, yeah, you have it right here.
Become 1,000 now, Lucy?
Pardon?
Does the cost, this 885? does
Become
that now go
1,000,
to
yeah.
1,000?
Yes.
So we can
Mhm.
make that
Yep.
change right now?
I think that's actually a pretty good price for all that. That's a lot of stuff.
There is a lot.
These 5 people, they provide these people like in phone, you give their per.
No.
They drop off the stuff and they blow it up and they leave.
Right.
So we had 3 people, I think, from the Optimist Club came and helped.
Yeah, I had a scout turn up and then he left after
Yeah, the one guy that came to replace me, I went back and he was
he
gone.
was gone.
Well, I think we were talking about for like the bouncy house, not having children, but actually an adult.
You need
You
a,
have to have an adult there.
yeah, this was an older teen.
Yeah,
This was a high
absolutely.
school person, so, but he showed up and left.
That one guy from the Optimist Club, that baseball guy. he
Yeah,
likes
John
doing the-
Barnes.
He likes doing the baseball one all the
Yeah,
time.
he was very good. Like I said, I did call him and haven't gotten through to him yet. Paul?
Not too long ago, we had that discussion on volunteers, they all have to sign off. Now, when we do this mass call of volunteers needed for these positions, are we gonna be sensitive to the fact that they need to have a disclaimer for insurance or however we had before?
We have
People
to.
just planting flowers, you know, that kind of came up.
Yes,
Now we
because
have
of
people at the
liability.
bouncy house, or kids jumping up and down.
But we don't have, that's not would not be covered by insurance. That's something that when they come and they use a bouncy house,
They
they're
assume,
taking their.
yeah, they assume the risk.
I think you're talking about the people who are supposed to be there watching
So
them.
the people who are watching.
The volunteers.
parents will sit, well, we came to this festival and they advertised we're gonna have a bouncy house and here you got some people who are watching the bouncy house here, and my kid went in there and a couple of kids, and man, they just was an awful mess.
Yeah, well, that's I mean, if you leave your kid going to a bouncy house with. No matter if there's 5 kids in there or 3 kids in there, there's a chance that you're gonna get a bloody nose or.
Well,
Twisted ankle.
above and beyond the bouncy
Yeah.
house Is all of these other things that we're asking for volunteers, because if I'm not mistaken, we had that situation at Winterfest of that gentleman just walking the path and the path wasn't cleared. And it became kind of a awkward legal situation
Mhm.
because he slipped and fell. And it's these little things that all of a sudden come to my mind.
I don't know, we did not get a plane.
Well, I'm not saying a claim, but it just became kind of an awkward situation for a little bit.
Well, really, the only way to get around that then would be to have like a form for every kid that's gonna go in there, the parent has to sign.
Well, I'm not.
And we don't wanna
thinking
get
so
into
much
that.
about
Yeah.
The
kids.
kids, that's the
I'm
helpers.
thinking about who we call for volunteers, because we're giving the responsibility as a volunteer to take control of the situation.
Right, but but the volunteers are not guaranteeing that your child won't get hurt. They're
Right.
guaranteeing that they're gonna keep a, a certain number of children in there and, certain, yeah.
On this day and age with liabilities and things, that's all. That we don't all of a sudden find ourselves in an awkward situation.
I don't know, Kathy, do you have any comment on that?
So we do have I think when we start doing our volunteers, we just need somebody as a volunteer to start coming in and we give them a thing saying they're a volunteer or whatever you're doing. To let people know that this person is a volunteer for us. We just have them put sign off on
Yeah, we should maybe like have a T-shirt, like give everybody a T-shirt, so volunteers will be noticeable or something,
our
or
best.
whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do, I,
A name tag
Whatever.
saying volunteer, my name is Paul.
well, you have your park shirt.
Well, I mean.
Yeah, for others,
But
yeah.
for all of these others, 'cause we're gonna.
And we've got
have
our
a little bit of a
lanyard.
Call out to see if we can get people, not only for this, but in the future, and I'm thinking.
Yeah.
in the future, as we grow our festivities,
Mhm.
Right.
exactly how we wanna coordinate all of that.
We really should have a park committee volunteer there at the bouncy house. Cause I was in the beer tent and I got called over, cause there were some boys there who were a little bit rowdy. And the mother who was there said, hey, I need backup. And I went over there and I roasted them. Yeah,
Marlene took care of it.
I found, yes, my first year here, I was assigned to the National Night Out bouncy house for the whole time.
Yeah.
I enjoy little kids because.
Well, that's why
So,
Paula is my bunny handler. You're down for the bunny handler.
That's all
by
right.
the way.
Whatever you need me to do. I'm good.
Yes,
Paul obviously, well, of course, litigious litigation. Is there any chance that sometime in maybe the next few months, we could run that question past Attorney Macy? What is the responsibility of the volunteer?
Well, you did that last time
I
with
did
the,
that, yeah, with the insurance company. to see
Yeah.
what was
Yeah,
being
because if there's
covered.
anyone that would know, he would know. I would think,
Not a bad idea.
I'll go to the expert. It's either that or you better call David Gruber, buddy. One call, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna move along because we gotta keep our eye on the clock here. So, so we're still waiting on balloon folks. I did put a call into the joke shop. I have not heard back. I've not called the dentist yet, though, because I wanted to see what the deal was with
Yeah.
the other balloon folks.
we
So we
should-
sort of,
we should hear from her because if she gives us a good quote for all four,
yeah,
then it all depends what she comes up with for the price.
right. And I think the dentist will want to be here regardless. So I think we'll just wait and just,
Yeah.
so we know what we're gonna,
Yeah.
we can ask him to
You
do.
have a card if you wanted for a company that does balloons, face painting.
Oh, sure.
Just, that is her.
Oh, that's her.
That's her.
They were in effect.
Oh, so this is the one you're waiting to hear back
Uh-huh.
from. Okay, cool. Yeah.
You can keep that.
Okay.
I got her.
Where we, petting farm.
Yeah, I had an email to them and I spoke to them on the phone. They were not quite ready to do their bookings yet. He said that he doesn't see a problem with our date right now, but I'm still waiting to kind of confirm that.
Okay.
I can tell you that the space needed is 16 by 16 feet roughly.
16 by 16.
Yep. And without counting in mileage, it would be $700 for our event plus $1 mileage, there and back. So we have to figure out what that is, but
Do we know how far away he is?
So where are the albums?
they're based out of Blue Mountain, so you're looking at probably 200 more, I don't know.
So-
200 miles?
Blue Mountain, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
like 900
Wow, that's a
bucks.
drive.
Yeah, so like $100 for each way.
So should we just put 900 down?
900.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Yep. Okay. So we talked about the Marlene and the face painting, the beer donation, Marlene, that's all good to go.
I need a letter.
Yeah.
And I got a new, I didn't get back to you. I got some, Andy is the new contact
Andy?
at Capital Beer Distributing. And the reason I asked for a flyer is if you can make that, what else are you doing with theirs? So if he's giving X amount of beer, what is the draw it's gonna be? So if you could get him out and you have the address, West 222 Miller Way, Sussex. And I don't have Andy's last name, but I think he's the chief in charge over there now. But if you could get him out a letter, you know, we're having bouncy houses and petting zoos and live music and that. So that there's more of an overall feel to it. That would be awesome.
Sounds good.
Um,
So we, did get approved for the canine.
oh, good.
I did call Rita for the Historical Society. She said she would be interested in that. Didn't do anything with Citizens Academy.
Yeah, they gotta you have to go to the chief. I think I give you the name of the chief in charge.
The captain, Michelle Westwood.
No. Oh, yeah, that one. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
And,
I know Michelle speaks.
And then she
Yeah.
reaches out to Marie Bernacki.
To Marie
who's the president
Bernacki,
Of the
yeah.
Citizens Academy.
right. And they have to get it on their schedule and I would
Right.
get that to them as soon as possible, because she said by the end of the year, they're booked for the whole next year.
Marie Bernacki's on here.
Yeah, Marie is
Yeah.
listed on there.
Yeah, she's over here.
Right, she's there.
She's over. on
Yep,
this
and
side.
Michelle Drager.
That's for,
Oh, that fire department,
department.
I'm moving ahead. We just gotta, I'm trying to keep this going here. Okay.
So, they're going to come up with Tanker and see if they can bring the demo house for the kids. And we're checking on Play for Life, getting their affirmative, and Play for Life, even though if they do say they're gonna make it here, then we, if they get a call, they're gone.
Right.
Mhm.
But we have to have enough room for them to land and pick up without a problem, so
Where would they land at
I
the,
don't know.
Last time that they did it was at the bottom of the sledding hill, like. where the
Yeah.
car show used to be. Was the last time they.
That was quite a draw when they came that time.
that's pretty impressive
Yeah.
that that thing come down, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, cool.
They do not, there's no charge.
Oh,
on
that's
that,
years
just to
ago.
verify.
But
There's no charge,
I don't think it's a charge,
because obviously
the
it's
community,
horrifically expensive per hour for helicopters. So,
I'll make note. that
That's a
I
good
check that.
question, though.
Mhm.
Unless we have a volunteer for.
Yeah.
Somebody to send. them
All
come
here
get.
First volunteer.
All right, what about, we have a fender bender issue
We do.
Mhm.
And
or
I-
non-issue, I guess.
I did contact Paula as soon as I found out. Fender Bender is not available, and so I did send Paula the email immediately, so they already had a private booking. First, he said he was, and then he said, oh, no, he called me right back and said, no, we have a private booking. So I did speak with this guy named Louis, who's a booking guy from ACA Entertainment, and he does have part of that Bobby Way and the Way Outs, do you remember?
Mhm.
Back,
Good band.
back in the day, so Bobby and the other fellow could come. Just the duo, $500. That's up from the $450 that they charged us last minute, so $500. If we had their full band, it's $2,500, and I said, that's out of our budget, we're not gonna do $2,500.
Yeah.
But, he, he said, well, find out, he wasn't sure if he had another band for 1,000. But again, I don't wanna just pick a band if none of us have ever heard them, So I'm reluctant to do that, and I don't know, please, committee, what's your thought on just having those two guides? We had them once before.
They were good.
I mean, they're inexpensive,
They were
they
really
are
good.
available, but I mean, I need to tell him, yeah, like, we gotta get, I'd call him tomorrow and say yes for sure. I just wasn't sure, cause,
Welcome.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
say that's
welcome.
good
You
because
think?
Yeah,
background
thank you.
music for the most part, while people at the picnic tables drinking a beer
Yeah.
and visiting.
Mhm.
And it's like elevator music in the back, there's nobody.
No,
really
elevator
rock and
music?
roll it.
No,
No,
no.
I say that loosely.
Mhm.
And the fact that you just hear it around and there's
Right.
nice music while you're visiting. as
We
well.
enjoyed it at the beer
Yeah.
tent.
Well, it might be better too, if there is some kind of live show going on, it's gonna be less of a clash of music.
I mean, they're both on guitar and they have, I think, some other amped in stuff, but they don't have percussion and it's not gonna be like it was last year where it was a band. But for $500,
Yeah.
at least it's some kind of
Yeah.
sound coming out. And I mean, I think most people like them.
Yeah,
And we-
instrumental soundtrack with some backup behind him and then they sing with them.
So are we set? I mean, are we good with?
Yeah.
the next going out?
They,
Getting the-
I,
Call 'em
oh,
tomorrow,
and
right away.
Tracy, you good with that? With Bobby Way and the way outs or
Yeah.
Although, I mean, it would just be, you know,
Kelly, you good?
They had
Yeah.
they had a good mix. They obviously liked each other and they played well together. 'Cause you can tell right away usually whether or not the 2 or 3 or 5 people that are up there like each other.
Yeah,
And
Okay.
They did.
Paul
So
and Colleen,
it's a
you-
Good present. good
Yeah?
present-
Okay.
presentation.
Marlene, you good with that?
Yep.
Okay, go for it.
yep.
well, and I think, you know, last time, when we had them, those two guys insisted, and so there's gonna be more work for Mike. They wanted, you know, like the
The wood.
plywood thing to stand on. Now, last year, the band didn't care. They would sit on the grass, so. But I know these guys are gonna ask for that same kind of plywood business again, so that they're standing on that.
You
Because I
still
already
have
asked him, and
plywood?
he said, oh, yes.
You have the plywood yet?
And we've got time, but just so you know, there's gonna be an added extra, you know, that is a requirement. He said definitely they would want that.
Is that okay, Mike? You-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's only 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll
Um,
find out what sort of amp or ampage, or what do you call it? I mean, what,
Oh, for this, or
yeah, for
it'll
theirs.
probably actually be easier with less band members
Sure.
to free up more surface for the.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'll just see, I'll confirm that whatever their need is, we can take care of.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
Good on the food pantry.
okay.
Yeah, did you want me to keep I always bring my car out there and put the signs up and people put the food right in the back of my car.
Let's see what our diagram looks like. once we
Okay.
get All these stuff, but yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and it just, and then I was right in my car and I drove it over to her house. So you called her, okay,
I called her and he was good with it.
okay,
Get
So
it?
the food for the Optimist Club. are
yep,
you-
that's
That's it. That's it.
So that's
Well, they
pretty
will
much
do
all
it
of
for
it.
Sure, good.
And then we have, Natasha did get a hold of the ATM guy and he's willing to bring the ATM again,
Yep, good.
so. And that's all I have. Are we missing anything more? I'm hoping the letter brings in some capital because the business that was going to donate now just put in about $250,000 in our village on projects and wells. So they are not going to be able to help.
Oh, boy.
How much were you thinking they would have contributed to the festival?
A full 10 grand.
Oh, so we're not gonna get, oh, so what do we have available?
We'll deal with, we have. We'll deal with it. Because we'll have more revenue than we have anticipated on other items as well. We'll spend expense that the 25,000 for the fireworks and stuff. So, when I do the letter, we'll hopefully get some people that are both interested in being part of it and then also, possibly interested in donations.
Hey, Paul. I don't see it on here. I know we had talked about porta potties. Is somebody in
Oh,
charge of that?
yeah. Good, good call. That's necessary.
Just put that by my.
Yeah, and we had made a decision, we were gonna do something different with porta potties this year. I feel like,
Need an extra
It
family
was
one
gonna
or
be,
something.
we were gonna put one up by the bouncy houses, a wash thing, or.
Mhm.
and then one up by the,
By where the horse.
Near the animals.
And the petting zoo.
Yeah.
They were gonna be all accessible, weren't they, because the cost was so similar? Or how was that?
That was
Mhm.
true. That was-
Yep.
I remember you
Yes.
telling me.
Because there was only $10 or $20.
Yeah, the different price points between the two were
Right.
Yeah.
marginal.
So are we going to put, I guess what we probably need is an understanding of how much space these bouncy houses are gonna take up. And then do maybe Mike, if you can do like a map of where we would put the rock wall and where we're gonna put this, so then we can, are we gonna put the petting zoo close to the, where the horses are, or not? I don't know. So,
There's room up there.
Yeah, that would
to
be
do
nice
that.
up there.
We talked about, yeah, putting up there,
Yeah.
there'd be shade for the
Shade,
animals,
right.
and then be another thing for people to do while they wait for. hours, right?
Kathy, in terms of the porta potties, what all, the parking lot, is that gonna be inaccessible for those? Cause they're so visible. You know, for a parent or a guardian that's got a little one or something like that, if they're one or two are out on the parking lot. You know, we have the median and we have the two parking lots. So is that where we were
Did we
thinking
have
of?
it in the
I don't
past?
know,
or-
I would
Excuse me?
leave that up.
Did we have it in the past?
Yes, that's where they were, and you had mentioned, you know, bouncy house, and there's no barrier, there's that fence in there. But, you know, people
think-
could get,
I think if Mike puts like a mock up of how much space we need for everything and where you're thinking. Cause you might wanna change things on where you wanna put them. To change the flow of how it's gonna be.
I
Just
just remember.
if we get,
Let's make sure we
the-
budget for that.
If we get businesses that wanna,
and if we have like the dancers and
Mm-hmm.
JK Lee and such, and they do performances, we're gonna have a stage of some sort with some, bleachers. So that's an expense as well, but we need space for that as well. So that's where you kind of envision that to be, and then we can kind of chat on that next meeting, if that's okay with everyone.
I think, near the petting zoo, we're gonna have a porta potty and a hand wash station, cause that, or at least do they
Yeah.
have like a sanitizer
Yes.
station thing they can put at least?
Yeah, and Paula, that had been discussed, but that's very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was there.
Is there time, and I don't know if this is appropriate, if I can ask, I have two questions. I don't know, maybe you need to put this on next month. Last year, we talked about this proposed snowmobile trail that was gonna come through the front part of the park. Is that a done deal? So will that group be accessing? Have you heard anything?
I
else?
did the
Okay.
last,
Something we
the
heard.
last time I
We have
talked
heard
to,
nothing, and would
I have.
guess that they're dead in the water.
I have,
They were gonna move down Silver.
Yeah,
Street
they were gonna move further.
and Come across by Lake.
Yeah.
I
Where
think-
that, you know, in the your time used to be that big open field, and that'll bring it back to the bug line through that open field.
They were thinking, weren't they thinking, Paul, of going along Barnwood?
they had several
Well,
options.
I mean, I've got this, I mean, so, but they were asking us if they could come into the park and use just right along that first.
And
That
the
was like-
village board is okay.
So the village
The
board
village
is
board
okay
was-
with it? So
was okay with that, but, we were talking about at that point, if we're going to be paving the path, and so then how are they going to go around, so then they're not chewing up the path? Well, now we're not paving the path, so, they thought of another possibility down on DV, but that doesn't mean they haven't. We did not get the word that they made any decision at this
Yeah.
point.
No,
They're
it
still in
was-
the.
They were still looking.
There,
out
and
last
there was a
time.
lot of,
It's gonna be a couple years out.
yeah, and there was a lot of situations with Lake Five Road in
a
general.
lot of pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So-
you don't want snowmobiles along Lake Park. And given the snow scenarios right now, I would go off a rail and predict that if we have another 2 years of non-events with snow, I think that snowmobile clubs, it's over.
So in
I'm
all
thinking that,
probability, we will not be seeing any snowmobiles in the park,
no.
accessing it all.
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, there might be someone that comes off the bug line, that comes onto the park, use the restrooms or whatever, or go to the festival, but it's not gonna be a club
Not
that's
sanctioned.
driving.
Right, because that was, and then I know it's 6, so just one more here real quick. Was that resolution, Ed had made a recommendation, there was a resolution that Community Park would remain in its pristine status as best we could. What happened with that? Was that a done deal through the town?
The village board denied it.
They denied it. Oh, they denied it.
Yep.
Oh,
They did not pass it.
okay, so
Not that it can't be presented.
well, I was gonna say, could we
Yeah.
It can.
maybe we, whoever would want to do that, we could resubmit the request and maybe approach at another date? Yeah, that'd
Absolutely.
be
I
acceptable.
I think to keep in mind is any future board could change it. So it would be good for the time frame that you would, any future board could do something different. So just,
For the record.
Yeah.
Paula, was that, resolution, was it tabled or was it denied?
we voted on it.
I think they voted on it, so it was.
Yeah,
It was voted, it was not.
it was voted down.
It was voted down. Okay, well.
I mean, we could bring it back if you, I mean, we have no problem talking about it again.
When they set the park up, the purpose of the park and the charter.
Right.
I will, I'm just gonna, in the future, I'll just hire a better lobbyist, so.
Yeah, I know it's 6 o'clock.
I'm
Thank
looking
you
forward
for
to
letting
it.
me do that.
Yeah, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
Oh,
I'll
motion,
make a
I'm
motion
sorry.
that we adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Second that. one.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned at 5:59, let's call it.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Wow, that was impressive, you guys.
Do you want Lori's address? If you were on the
I have
mail or card?